Hello, my name is Shadley, welcome back for another episode of Victoria 3 as Korea. In previous episode we managed to pass the professional army, which is going to allow us to increase our military quite a bit. We are still definitely having some issues with our limited desire. I'm not entirely sure how much we'll be able to do about that. At least for a while. We got a decent bit of debt to pay, although it's not the worst. And I think what we are actually going to do is we're going to go and build a government administration in the northwestern state, because if we have a look at the budget, we're currently losing about 33,000 pounds per week for taxes. We won't be able to get all of that, of course, because there's going to be some, upkeep costs and all that for those, but we can probably at least get a little bit more taxes in. So, and also getting the extra bureaucracy isn't actually not going to be a bad thing. We currently are trying to pass the wealth voting, which currently doesn't have a lot of support. It's just the industrialists, but it doesn't have any chance of stalling. It's just the debates are very high chance there, so we might get a 1 or 2 setbacks quite likely, but I'm sure that eventually we'll start getting a bit of headway in there and we'll start passing the law. So we've got a fairly decent chance of actually winning that, but it is not guaranteed. We do also have a movement for homesteading, but that's probably not going to be viable for a little while at least. The private sector is currently building some food industries and sulfur mines, actually, and cotton plantations. That actually reminds me, what are we researching? We're researching banking. That should be done fairly shortly. I'm hoping that it's going to be... Honestly, the corporate charters would probably be a pretty good one to have. Our GDP is currently about 10.5 million. It's not exactly the highest that it's been. It's not the worst, but I'm hoping that we can actually increase that a bit further, but that might take a while. Also, I suppose one of the things that we could do is we could go for the urban center over here and upgrade that to the public trams to get a little bit of transportation at least available. Same over here. We'll probably need to build some railways. We'll try to keep the debt level below 1 million, hopefully. I'm not entirely sure if we'll manage that, but we'll give it a try for sure. Could technically speaking reduce the government wages a little bit. It will reduce the intelligentsia and petit bourgeois approval rating, of course, but honestly... And it will reduce the max authority a little bit, but we'll save quite a bit of money per week at that point. And thus, we don't necessarily need to worry too much about the debt. I mean, sure enough, there's still going to be quite a bit, but we can probably reduce some of that. We've still got 2.5 million in the investment pool. Although the investment pool, even while we are building stuff ourselves, it's actually not growing all that much. So we might start running into some problems with that. But we've got railways in the western states. Or our capital and in the southwestern and northwestern states. The eastern 2 states do not have railways yet, so that's something that we may need to fix sooner or later. We'll try to keep the railways in state control for now. Technically speaking, those can be privatized, but I'm probably not going to do that. Now we're making £5,000 per week. If we can get that down to like 750 again, we might do a quick little construction again. Oh, debate failed, okay. Well, we'll take that one. So that's the first failure. It's entirely possible that we will not pass this law, but there's also a chance that we will. It's just not a very large chance necessarily. But that would then change the voting to be anyone that has 25 wealth or higher, which is mostly going to be like the upper class. Oh, election is done. I think we're going to hold on to the current government though. I don't think we need to change that at all, because we need to have the industrialists in power. Otherwise, the wealth voting is not going to go anywhere. In the meanwhile, we just got the bureaucracy. We are now hopefully losing a bit less money on the taxes. Yeah, there's a little bit less unrealized taxes. There's still quite a bit though, and Jiangsu, the northwestern state, is still the biggest deficit in there in terms of that. Another thing that we might want to do actually is build another university, because I'm pretty sure that we could have a bit more innovation actually. Let's build one on the southeastern state, because we want to build up the naval bases in here, and they are currently having some issues hiring people. So if we can sort that out, that'd be nice. We do also need to increase our military size a little bit, but we need to do that in somewhat small increments. We don't want to incur too much debt, because then if the debt starts piling up, then the interest rates start piling up, because right now, interest rates are 32.7%, which is a lot. Now, we could have up to 8 million credit right now, which... it's okay, but yeah, we don't really want to tap into that too much. Not when we need to pay 20% of our income to China as well. Speaking of which, how is China's GDP looking like? They got 85.4 million. Okay, so it is about 8 times the GDP that we have. But I think, well, one thing that will probably start happening is there's logging camp being built, and then some plantations and such being built in our nation. Oh, the Gene government is constructing a tobacco plantation in our nation. Okay. Well, I mean, they are at least investing in our economy, so there's that, but there's also entangles our economy quite a bit further. So if we have a look at over here, the entangled, it's, yeah, it's, the GDP is at one point in there, and them owing over 20% of our GDP is another point. Then there's the buy order satisfied by Jing, 0.8, but there is also minus 0.1. Because we provide stuff for their market, so they are kind of dependent on us as well. So yeah, the economy is mixed bag right now, I suppose we could say. I do actually wonder how much. So it was 32.7, and the banking is going to reduce by 2%, but I don't think it's 2% from here, but rather it's going to be 2% modifier somewhere. Although I could be mistaken, but I think that's probably going to be the case. So it's not necessarily going to be reduced that much, but the extra production is still going to be very much worthwhile. Grassroots support for the law. Oh, there we go. We'll take the 20%. So now we've got 28% chance. If we can pass this law, that would be very useful. And now we're getting a bit of money. We did go over 1 million in debt, so we'll hopefully just let that be diminishing for a little while. The investment pool is definitely dropping in size quite drastically, so we might eventually run into some problems in that regard. And there's the banking. Now, let's have a look at how much is that. Oh, no, it is actually... Oh, it is more than that, because it's from the base value of 20% that is reduced from by the tech. Okay. It still increased quite a bit, but there's actually a fairly good chunk of extra interest rates reduced in there, so that's good. In recognition of accomplishments, we'll definitely try to boost the industrialists a bit further, because those are the main thing that is... pushing the, other than the various checkpoints that we've, all the events that we've gone from the checkpoints to actually pass the wealth voting, because that is going to start then slowly but surely reducing the power of the aristocrats, which there is quite a bit in there, mind you. So what is it? Oh, it's spreading the realism. Okay. We'll queue that one up. It does increase prestige, which is actually quite nice. And then it's better stuff for the Arts Academy, which we don't actually have any right now. We're currently building, okay, an iron mine, arms industry, and logging camp. That's not too bad. How we're looking on the debt, we've got, well, almost 900, almost 1 million actually. We're slowly paying it back though, so once we get a decent bit of the debt paid or something like that, we could maybe go ahead and build another government administration just to increase the amount of taxes that we get. We could also build a railway down here. This place would definitely benefit from it. At the same time, coal seems to... Actually, there's not that much demand for coal. Let me just double check some of the buildings. More gold discovered in our market. It doesn't really concern us, though. The lead mines, I'm going to actually put in the condensing pump engines there to get a little bit more lead into the market. Okay, so there's not too much else in here that we need to change, at least currently. But we're making 6,000 pounds per week. And I think it's still slowly increasing. The downside, of course, is that the investment pool is going down by 13,000. So we do need to build every now and then just to make sure that the investment pool doesn't dry up completely. I think what we could do... Oh, right, construction sector is fully employed. And now, that's actually a good thing. If we increase the amount of bureaucracy, the construction efficiency will go up, which means that we'll be able to build up the... Well, the private sector will be able to do more work on the construction side of things. And thus the GDP itself will be increasing more and more. But there we go. We've got 29% chance of passing the... or progressing the voting law, so that will be quite handy. Whether we'll actually pass it or not remains to be seen, of course. Now, is there anything else that we could do over here? No, not yet. Yeah, we're kind of stuck with the legitimacy just dropping currently, but hopefully sooner or later we can do some work on that. Oh, there we go. Progress to consideration already. Now we just need 2 successful rolls, which, to be fair, it's possible. There's still no real opposition to the law. It's just, you know, there's not that much support for it directly. So that would definitely help. It would probably currently reduce the amount of people that can actually vote. But it will at least reduce the power of the aristocrats and thus start reducing the power of the landowners. Because they are pretty pretty influential right now, but that might then allow us to, in the future at least, pass some better laws, which we definitely do need to do. We are now down to actually less than 900,000. I'm going to go ahead and build another government administration down here. It will cost us a decent bit, and it's going to take us above 1 million in debt again, but that's also allowing the investment pool to recover a small amount, mind you. Let's have a look at the world a little bit in the meanwhile. So there's a bit of a revolt in British Raj. Empire of Japan is a thing. There's a bit more colonization to be done in Australia. And I suppose in Papua as well. Egypt is pretty strong. Ethiopia is a thing. There's still quite a bit of Africa that could be colonized. Of course, we're only in 1870, so there's still a decent bit of time to go. Sweden and Norway are still in there. Denmark's still a thing. America hasn't been able to beat the Mexicans yet. I'm sure that they will eventually. And looks like Canada, well, Canada hasn't united yet, but they've got quite a bit of territories in here. And Russia's colonizing Alaska by the looks of it. Alright then. So nothing too much out of the ordinary, but there's a decent bit of things happening, I suppose, in the background. Now, how much longer? 7 more weeks for the government administration. If we're losing this much money, we're not going to hit 1 million, actually. And we'll be getting a little bit more bureaucracy. We might actually then go ahead and increase the law enforcement to level 3. Reduce the radicals a tiny bit, although it might not be having that huge of an impact, but we shall see. Now, if we do have a look at the market, what is it that we need the most? I mean, opium, yes. Oil, we need more, but I can't produce any more than that. Fertilizer, we do need quite a bit. Paper is, of course, another thing. What's the next thing? Right, so the general staff, that's going to allow us to change the training laws a little bit. It would also unlock the skirmish infantry, although we won't have ammunition production yet. We'll need explosive factories for that, and for that, we need to actually research the intensive agriculture, which is luckily underway. So that will be a possibility, at least. We should be hitting about 1 million in debt very shortly. But that will be built about now, so there we go. That's going to speed up the iron mine construction, and the logging camp actually is also underway. And getting in yet another arms industry as well. Oh, there we go. Another successful roll on the law. So now we just need one more successful roll, or maybe some good debates or advanced events and such, so we'll get higher chance of passing the law. But that will be actually very handy. The sooner we pass that law, the better. And now we're slowly paying back the loan again. We're still paying actually 5,500 on the interest, so that's actually reduced a decent bit. I'm pretty happy about that. And the GDP hasn't increased that much yet. It's 11.3 million, so it could be a lot worse, but it could also be a lot better. We're getting another tooling workshop as well, although I think, yeah, tooling workshops already use the steel tools everywhere. We could potentially, since we've got quite a bit of shipyards, I don't know how much the clipper price is currently on the market. Let's have a look. It's quite a bit extra. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and change those back to the wooden ships. It's going to halve the amount of clippers that we produce. The Korean Homesteading Society. We could boost the popularity of the agitator a little bit. Maybe that will help at least a decent bit. It might also make the people like Intelligentsia a bit more, or support them a bit more. But yeah, we want to pass the wealth voting. If we can get enough support for the homesteading, we might try to pass that. But the thing is, if we try to pass it currently, the landowners would get radicalized, and that's not really something we want to do. But meanwhile, the logging camp is almost done. Inefficient agriculture, yes, we should follow their advice. Oh, Arts Academy, okay. I wonder how much that is actually going to make money. And then there's a few more buildings being built by the Chinese. So that's going to be good. So we're down to, well, we're almost back to 900,000 in debt. General staff at least shouldn't take too much longer to research. Our prestige, if we compare the prestige of us and, yeah, they got 2.2 times the prestige. So we need to increase ours quite a bit. We could potentially increase the army size a little bit. Resource boom. Kwambok, that's the northeastern state. I'm just going to boost the productivity there for a little while. That's hopefully going to increase the GDP a little bit further. Although right now I actually immediately drop a tiny bit, but that might be just fluctuation in the various things. Oh, there we go, back to 11.3 million. They do still have 300,000 peasants in here. We've got over 500,000 in our capital, almost 1 million in the southwestern state, 700,000 in the southeastern state, and 900,000 in the northwestern state. So we've got quite a bit of room to expand industries and all that. We've got plenty of workforce available. it looks like our capital actually has a bit of issues with the market access, and we could probably build another railway. It's going to cost us quite a bit. It's going to get us well over 1 million in debt, because it's 800 points and we can get 25 per week, so that's going to be 32 weeks of this increase. Yeah, that's going to get us to like 1.2 million probably in debt, so we'll probably need to wait a while afterwards. I'm sure that that will definitely help. And the right farms, we could use the tools in there, but that wouldn't really help us. Oh, there we go. We have our new law. Now, there's quite a bit of support for the homesteading. But that would also radicalize the landowners, which might lead to a revolution. And I think we're not going to go for that quite yet. But maybe at some point. That would definitely help us a little bit, but at the same time, since we're going to be losing money while doing construction work and all that, I'd rather not anger the landowners, because that also means that the investment pool would basically be diminishing at all times. Well, actually, not so much of that, but the tax income is going to be dropped by quite a bit on the agriculture and plantations and ranching. So that would be a pretty large blow to our economy. It's certainly something we'll want to do over time, but right now I don't think we can really pull that off yet. Oh, there we go. We've got 200 bureaucracy. I'm going to go ahead and increase the law enforcement a little bit. It's going to take over almost a year to actually be fully increased, but that's fine. Getting another silk plantation by the looks of it. Oh, is that's foreign quarters? Yeah, the foreign quarters are, or the foreign queues rather, are building up that. There's the Jing construction queue. They're getting a little bit of stuff in there, and then Arms Industries is going to be built in 7 weeks. Then we'll get the tooling workshop. It's going to take a little while for the railways, mind you. But right now, we don't really have a lot of laws that we could... Actually, there is a small... There would be quite a bit of opposition from the landowners, so trying to pass agrarianism probably wouldn't work. But that, or interventionism would be even better. But, oh, actually, I do wonder... Are there, excellent agitators for interventionism? Or agrarianism, for that matter. There's protectionism, but that's not quite what we're looking for. Although that would allow us to start doing some trading, but I don't think we can change that until we've gotten rid of the traditionalism. Oh, actually, no, we probably could. There wouldn't be a huge opposition to mercantilism. That would, well, okay, rural folk would hate us. That would allow us to do some trading. So right now that's... Oh, that does increase the taxation capacity, but the tax spread is reduced. Let's declare interests. We can't do trade routes. Whereas over here, we would be getting a little bit of money from tariffs. That tax spread increase would be quite handy. And military protectionism would also be a pretty good amount of money. Or going for free trade, that would... There would be quite a bit of opposition for that. Protectionism, there would be a little bit of opposition from the landowners. It wouldn't be too bad. But there, yeah, I suppose that we won't really have enough support for the law yet, so I'm not going to try to pass that yet. It would be more trouble than what it's worth right now. So, Arms Industry in the northwest, Tooling Workshop in the northwest, an Arms Academy in the southeast, and our capital is getting another cotton plantation. And hopefully soon enough another tobacco plantation as well. So how are we looking? Oh, we got, yeah, just hit 1 million in debt. And we still got 16 more weeks. Oh boy, that's going to be quite a bit of money that we will be losing. Logistics is spreading. Okay, right, that reminds me. Let's get the logistics underway, and then let's go ahead and switch the barracks to use the general training. How's our prestige compared to... Oh, they got 2.3 times the prestige. Yeah, that's going to be a little bit rough. I mean, if we were to increase our military a decent bit, it would be quite costly. But that would probably allow us to then get the prestige up to, like, at least 150. But if we have a look at the Chinese prestige, it's already over 300. So we'd have to get to, like, at least 160. More would be beneficial, of course. To at least get a bit more stuff out of it. Is there... Oh, we could request market control. They will, of course, deny that. But that might allow... There we go. We got a little bit more... time before they can start reducing our liberty desire, or, you know, they can reduce our autonomy further, which I'd rather avoid, mind you, but we shall see how it goes. Oh, they're building another textile mill. Also, we haven't gotten any furniture workshops yet. That's something that we might want to work on. But I would suspect that that might be something that the private sector will sooner or later realise that, okay, we should probably do that. Raising concerns. Yeah, I suppose we can do that. Keep both the industrialists and our forces happy, that should be pretty good. There is quite a support for the homesteading, but I suppose we don't have anyone in the government right now. Well, actually, what we could do... If we were to get... Oh, yeah, if we go for that one... Then we try to pass the... Well, I suppose there's a little bit boost for agrarianism. That could also be quite nice. That would... Oh, we'd have to get a rule folk and industrialist both in power to really get the benefit out of that. Homesteading now has a lot of support, but it also has a lot of opposition from the landowners, so they would be radicalized. I'd rather not go for that one quite yet. They do also... Oh, mutual funds is something we need for that. Homesteading would be quite nice. But yeah, we can't pass that while we got traditionalism. Well, at least we got a bit higher legitimacy with that government, so I suppose that's fine. Oh, and now they left the... Oh, warlocked. Well, other than the government, they do not support the enact homesteading anymore. Although, well, technically speaking, they probably would still support it, but it's now 38% rather than a much higher percentage. Well, the railway will be done fairly shortly, and we are now 1.1 million debt. I hope that once the construction cost is... or construction work is over, for that railway in particular, then the private sector will be able to do a bit more work. At least for a while. We did at least now fix the infrastructure, hopefully. Yeah, we'll have plenty. Unfortunately, the coal price is a bit on the high end over here. But there we go, we're making 5,000 per week. We've got 11.4 million in GDP. We're currently number 15. We are below Japan. We are above Mexico, at least. But yeah, we've got quite a bit of work to do to catch up with Jing, which still has 85 million. So we have at least gotten a little bit closer to them, in, well, percentage-wise anyway. Oh, there we go. The Arts Academy is finally underway. I don't know how much of that is actually going to make money, though. I suppose there's always a chance that it will make a decent bit of money. Right now, the market itself just doesn't have a lot of art available. And thus, since there's not a lot of art available, there's not a lot of people that will actually consume it. There's a tiny bit of produced by 2 different academies, actually, in China. Sichuan and Western Hubei. Okay, so this is one of them. And then I believe Sichuan is over here. Right then, how are we looking on the wasted tax money right now? Still 33,000. Well, I suppose the population is growing quite quickly. So that is one of the problems. And of course, we've got some of the things that are actually reducing our tax efficiency. Mostly the traditionalism, I suppose, is reducing that a lot. So that's unfortunate. Oh yeah, we did really need to get rid of this one though. So agrarianism, there is a bit of support for it. I'm going to try to pass it. It probably will fail. But at least we've then tried it. There's more chances for it to fail currently than to succeed. Which is a bit of a shame, but at least it doesn't anger the landowners too much. And if we do get lucky, we might be able to get a much stronger economy. And thus start switching the taxation laws and all that. So while the support for it is minuscule, I don't suppose I could switch my government a little bit further. It'll probably hit a bit of a problem that if we push this... Oh dear, that'd be bad. Okay, no, we'll reset that. Actually, one of the things that I should probably do is stop bolstering the intelligentsia, bolster the industrialists. Because I want those to be in a strong position. Intelligentsia is relatively influential right now, though. So now there's... Oh, another paper mill. Actually, that'll be quite handy. And there we go. £7,500 per week is actually not bad profit. How much does the railways actually provide? There's a little bit. Dividends are actually relatively small, though. But that at least provides a plentiful amount of transportation in here. Which would be fair. Well, I don't think there's a lot of things that I can do with that. We could potentially switch some of the rail transportation in here, but it would actually be less money earned. So that's probably not going to help at all. Because, again, we've got the workforce available for sure. Oh, there we go, £8,000 per week. So little by little, we're paying off quite a bit of the loans. If we wait for another, I don't know, a couple months, we might be able to build something again. Maybe increase the bureaucracy. Or something. There we go, we're at 12 million GDP. Right, so where did we... It was down here, the Arts Academy. Is that actually making money at all? Not really. there's not a huge consumption for it. The market balance is at 0.03 currently. It's basically our production that is keeping it afloat there. I could potentially subsidize it. If we just make enough production, it will then maybe have the others buy it. People with wealth of 20 or higher, so there's not necessarily going to be a huge population for it. But I suspect that if we just provide enough for it to, you know, start rolling, it might actually make a... Oh, right, law enforcement advance. Oh, Agrarian's got support. Wow. The landowners actually support that law now. Oh my goodness. This is turning out a lot better than expected. There's no... Okay, so it's either success or advance. There's no debate or stall chance here. So we are going to get the agrarianism. It might take a little while, but we are going to get that. And I like the sound of that. That's for sure. Now, it's the... Well, there's a little bit of consumption for the fine art now. And I think we are basically turning it into... Well, it's not profitable yet. But it will hire quite a bit of people, which then are actually... Some of them might be then high enough wealth to actually buy the arts themselves. Embassy to Russia. Ooh. Tech spread for society for 2 years. You know what? I'll take it. We do owe no obligation to Russia now, but honestly, that might well be worthwhile. So that's from the event for agrarianism. Okay. We've got 900,000 in debt again. I could go... Actually, what are we building? Coal mine, paper mill, and textile mill. We could go and build just one more government administration up here. It'll cost us a little bit, but it's actually only 5,000 per week, and it's only like, what, 16 weeks total? Or somewhere thereabouts, so yeah, that's not going to be too bad. And the private sector will be able to complete the textile mill at least. The paper mill will also be built soon enough, and we are currently working on getting the intensive agriculture in the next few weeks. There is no more room for any extra... Well, I suppose we're almost at our max capacity for innovation. We could potentially have a little bit more. Or we can cover... Yeah, so we might have to build the university afterwards. We'll build the administration first, let the debt go or tick down for a little while, and then we'll build the... Probably another university over here in Gwambuk. Because while there's not too much problems there, there might be some. Actually, one of the things that we might do while we're at it, while we do some construction work, we'll get another lightship or frigate over here in Yeongnam, and we'll also get one man of war in there. The construction cost will be a little bit higher for us now, but at the same time, that's going to get us a bit more navies, it's going to get us a bit more prestige. And actually, if we do have a look at the prestige multiplier, they got 2.9 times our prestige. Okay, so they are starting to go pretty far ahead with their prestige. Of course, once we increase our military a little bit and all that, we'll be able to probably catch up with that. Of course, if we can get the agrarianism passed, that's going to increase massively the amount of investment pool transfers, which means that the GDP can basically start ballooning a lot. And then we can change the tax laws and all that. We might be able to actually reduce some of the taxes slowly. But yeah, that's going to be a very important thing. So we got rather lucky with the landowners actually switching to support that thing then. The protection is... Oh, hold on a minute. What does that entail? Support interventionism. Oh. Neutral towards agrarianism. Okay. And then endorse mercantilism and strongly endorse protectionism. So we can change our trade laws as well. Oh, this is going to be perfect. Hey, and there's the intensive agriculture. Right, let's go ahead and switch the farms to use some fertilizer and livestock ranches to get some fertilizer. It's going to be probably a bit costly in the long run, or the short run. But we can now also perhaps go ahead and build a fertilizer plant. Of course, since our rules do dictate that we'll have to then sell that. Well, oh, right, never mind. It was just a brief moment while we got the government administration built. But now we're getting the naval bases. That's going to hopefully be sorted out fairly quickly. And then that's going to also have a bit of an impact on our prestige. Now, it might not be instant, but it will probably help. And what do we get over here? Is that going to be passed? Oh, there we go. It's now in the drafting. But I do see that we are actually out of time for this episode. So if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also got the links down below in the description. But other than that, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, bye-bye.